5v5 is dead. Long live 3v3. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. Guys, I'm going to talk about 3v3 today. We just got news today that they are in fact expanding our divisions to include all these extra teams. So I am personally in Division 1 going to need to place 15 teams, beat 15 teams. That means we need at least 30 teams. I'm going to make 3 different videos between today, tomorrow, and the next day about all the different teams I'm going to do. I'm going to start with the most obvious teams, though, on offense and defense. We're going to do 10 per day, so that's a total of 30. That's how many I will need. I'll need more than that because I'll eventually inevitably fail, but one way or another, we're going to go with the OBVIEST ones. I realize that's not a word, so for those of you who are already in the comments typing, "Hey Xerath, I noticed that you can't spell," I'll be like, wow, really, that's cool, man. I'm glad that you actually value that. Because literacy is a thing. I mean, frankly, it's good to meet other people who value spelling. However, if you think that I'm actually misspelling that, I guess you can keep thinking that. Whatever. We're good. So let's actually talk about this though, guys. So we're splitting them up by offense and defense. They don't need to be, but this is kind of the way I'm thinking about these things. So I'm going to try to keep this video under 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes, but that's going to be a new thing. I'm going to try to keep a lot of videos to a shorter length. We'll just see. We'll see, but we're going to go through the obvious ones first because it's more difficult to talk about the complex squads, the cool squads, the minutia squads without getting kind of those creative juices flowing. So here are the ones that are the most obvious to me. The next one is going to have way more obscure teams, I promise. We'll talk about Galactic Legends, probably starting in the next one, etc. I'm excited for 3v3. Love the format, actually. I've come to enjoy it at least. So, let's talk about offense, guys. So, in 3v3, taunts are a really important thing, and getting past taunts is really important. Being able to revive is an important mechanic, and being able to heal and regenerate is important. And one awesome thing about this boss team is you have a taunt that never goes away with boss, or at least in a lot of situations. You have 2 guys who are cutthroat, really good at just doing a lot of damage in Django and Boba, both of whom can also ignore taunts, and they can both apply healing immunity. Really cool stuff. They can also deny the ability to revive, and so that makes this squad, they also have 2 AoEs so that they can hit anyone who's in stealth. That makes this squad one of the most versatile, amazing squads on offense. I really love them. Just use them and destroy people with them. And then you can also, there's another bounty hunter team we'll talk about later that also works with them. Now the Ray team, the Jedi Training Ray, I should say, take 2 droids with you and call it good. You want BB-8 to be fast. You want all of them to have crit chance. You want all of them to have potency. Go check out my Faction Essentials video on Resistance. If you want to know how to mod these guys in 3v3, you need to be able to use these guys to counter the Commander Luke team that is going to inevitably be on defense all over the place. You need this team for that. If you don't use this team, you can definitely beat a lot of other teams, or if you don't want to use this team to beat that team, you can use it for a lot of teams. But this team really does punch up really well. Put a lot of good speed on BB-8, some potency. No, he doesn't need potency. She needs potency, but then crit chance on all of them to proc those exposes. This team looks pretty innocently easy. It is extremely strong to, it's tough to beat if it's on defense. It's going to hit hard, etc. Now, the Jedi Revan team, super obvious, in my opinion. Obvious squad of all of them. So, he's going to mark someone, and he's going to the others are going to hit him. You just do the turn meter train. Jolie's going to revive. If necessary, there's going to be Savior. They do a lot of damage under Jedi Revan lead. They're going to all be faster under Jedi Revan lead. Keep in mind that Jedi Revan and his team actually receive less of a leadership bonus because it's based on how many Jedi are on the team. So Jedi Revan gets +5 for every character that's not, or for every Jedi, and +5 for every Old Republic. So he gets +10 for himself, +10 for Jolie, +5 for Yoda, which is a total of 25. If you had 2 other random Jedi, everyone would actually be +35 speed, etc. So remember, he's going to be slower than usual in 5v5. That's just the way of things. Darth Vader does the same thing. Now, the next one, guys, we've learned throughout the seasons, we don't need Commander Luke to pilot Han and Chewie. We just need a competent rebel or scoundrel leader. So Wedge is kind of my stand-in. He's the guy I like the most because he gives so much turn meter to people. So what happens is you take your bonus turn with Han, and then it's off to the races to see who's the fastest. So Han is, you want him to be modded fast anyways, but what happens is he shoots and he crits 2 times at the very start. Wedge gives 10% turn meter every time you crit to those characters. So Han gains 20% turn meter at the very start. Plus, if he's fast, he's going to go again right away. Chewie also assists, so he gains 10% turn meter if he crits. And so I really like the turn meter gain. I know that he has other cool things. He gives offense and everything, but I think that Wedge is maybe the best thing because of that turn meter gain. Now, the final one, Vader's a little trickier to use because just like Jedi Knight Revan, he is not going to be gaining as much speed because he's only got 3 characters to give him speed on his team. He's not going to be gaining speed from his opponents as much either if they're rebels or Jedi, because there's only 3 on there. So we have Darth Vader just hanging out, hoping he can kill something. I mean, he's basically protected by Shore Trooper. Another variant would be like with Watt in here to give the permataunt to Shore Trooper or something like that. We'll save Watt for a more complex kit or comp next time, I think. But I mean, this team has all you need. It'll kill all the B teams and some of the B+, A- kind of teams. So I don't know. Vader is an obvious choice on offense. Don't put him on defense. Don't be a simp and do something stupid like that, guys. Don't be a simp like me as well, because I want to switch one of these teams out. Let's leave this team for a different day, guys. The most obvious defensive team in the entire world, in my opinion, is the Sith Empire team. And the reason for that is they're just impossible to beat unless you use a Galactic Legend, or if you like, some people can use Vader on them if they get lucky. It's not super consistent, however, so they're a very good team, very, very strong. Galactic Legend, a lot of times you'll get 54, then you can smile because you've already baited out one of their Galactic Legends. This team is not to be underestimated. Make your Malak a little bit faster than Darth Revan, and that will also show a lot of dividends because it'll mess with turn order for the Vader comp, etc. However, it is tough to get him fast, I get that. So, otherwise, the Commander Luke team, this team is the one that the Jedi Training Raid team counters. However, if you mod them for a lot of crit immunity and on their arrows, and then a lot of tenacity, this team becomes very difficult to beat by that Raid team. So, or Jedi Training Raid. So if you counter mod them, then everything's good. Especially because Chupio grabs all the stats from Luke and gives the whole team extra tenacity, etc. It can get pretty gross. Now, this is kind of my standard team. I'm thinking about putting with Jedi Knight Luke, thinking of putting, instead of Old Ben, putting General Kenobi, because that way it's more difficult for the Vader comp to actually counter. What happens is you need a really fast Shock T, not like 320 fast, like 360 fast, because that makes this team almost completely out of Vader's range. And if he does want to get fast enough, he has to use like a Tarkin lead, in which case he doesn't have enough damage to actually kill Jedi Knight Luke. This team can be a PETA to kill if you don't have a Galactic Legend to beat. This is very similar to that Darth Revan team, in the sense that there's not a lot that can beat this, frankly. I wouldn't want to mess with it with many teams. Now, this Newt team is actually probably a little more complex than the day one it merits, but this team is so good. You have Scoundrels here, so L3 is going to be dispelling debuffs on them. Django starts immediately to hit like a truck, and Newt in 3v3, we call him Galactic Legend Newt because he is just almost overpowered, it feels like. He runs the table with people, all that extortion, all the manipulation and turn meter. Just a really, really solid squad. This is one of my favorite squads in 3v3, and that's probably why I got overzealous and put it in the most obvious defense. It's only obvious because I love it so much. It's so interesting. It's obviously going to be on my defenses. Now, General Grievous teams in any form are going to be a little awkward in 3v3. I mean, on offense, they drop banners and they don't hit as hard. On defense, they get beat by about a billion other teams. This is one of the teams that you want to use. Depending on what your opponent is using when they scout you, you can put Nest in here and really gum things up. So, I don't know, there's a lot of different cool things, guys. There's a lot of fun teams that we're going to be using in 3v3. Tell me what teams you want to use. These are the 10 most obvious to me. Tomorrow we'll cover 10 of the less obvious ones. The 3v3 less obvious, I don't know. We'll have the stupid title, I'm sure, because that's kind of what we're into these days. So, guys, that was 10 teams. Hope you liked it. Thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xerath prevails.